Alright, it is finally here. Christmas 2014, smismass update 2014 thing. And yes, we got new weapons, and one of these weapons is the Iron Bomber, as you can see on the screen right now. And it is indeed a new demoman grenade launcher. Now at first, by reading those stats right there, you would think that it's not the most greatest weapon ever, because it basically just sounds like a very slight variant to the grenade launcher. But once you actually get your hands on this weapon and you fire it a bit, you can see that the firing rate is much faster than and more direct, so it doesn't arc as much as the default grenade launcher. So it's almost like the lock and load in that sense, where it shoots really fast projectiles and less arc as well. I would say this actually has less arc. I reckon it's about the same as the lock and load. And going back to the stats here, look at this first stat. Grenades have very little bounce and roll. Now this at first you would think, oh, that's kind of good, like not much big difference. But when they say that, they mean it very seriously. Valve. I'll show you some clips on screen where the projectiles, like the grenades, I guess, pipes, whatever, they do not barely move at all. Like they barely roll at all when they're on flat ground. So if you are and they barely bounce off walls, like they kind of just hit the wall and then roll down the wall, instead of pipes where they'll bounce off the wall and then roll. So if you're, say, spamming at a sentry gun, and if it's in a really hard spot, but you can easily spam it, that's where the default grenade launcher is really good. It's because you can just hit a wall and it'll roll to the sentry gun. But with this new one, you would have to be much more direct in your shots because it will not roll. And yes, you can. It's not like the lock and load where you have to hit it directly. You can hit it beside it and it will like kind of stay in that position and then just blow up on the sentry gun. So it will do damages onto the sentry gun as well, but it's just much harder to spam out sentries and such. Now let's look at this next stat, minus 10% damage on grenades that explode on timer. So that basically means that you have minus 10% damage on rollers, which roller pipes, which are the grenades / pipes, whatever you want to call them, that essentially roll on the ground and then explode after the 3 seconds without. And if they don't do this, then they hit a player and explode instantly. So depending on how good your aim is, a lot of your shots are going to be exploding on timer, and minus 10% damage may not seem like a lot, but obviously if you're doing, this is just an easy example, but if you're doing 100 damage on a roller, it automatically goes down to 90, and that is quite a big difference in a fight. And if you are spamming at the combo or just spamming the other team, that's minus 10% damage every single roller. So this grenade launcher, this new one, is definitely not one for just spamming like the default one, like spamming rollers everywhere. This one you definitely want to hit more direct shots on the enemy. Now finally, this last stat, minus 20% explosion radius. This obviously is minus 20% explosion radius, so this means that if you if you shoot at a player and there's players around him, those players around him will get less hurt. But this, even though it's minus 20%, which is quite a lot, this one, because of its high projectile speed, you are aiming for those direct shots on a single player. So you're not really wanting for the spam, because it does 100 damage at any distance on a direct shot, which I'll show you videos where I'm just firing pipes across like the whole map, almost. Like if you're on Viaduct, this is across the whole mid, and you're doing 100 damage direct. That is a lot of damage. If you hit 2 pipes on a soldier, he's dead instantly. He can be at full health, doesn't even matter. So that is so I would say that this downside is not that big of a downside, because if you are using this weapon and using it correctly, then you are going for those direct shots all the time, and also possibly singling out players, because it does 100 damage. You can easily take out pretty much every class, like heavies down in 3 hits. So these direct shots will be extremely vital when using these weapons, because you cannot rely on just spamming and having the pipes roll into the enemy, because the minus 20% explosion radius, that means you will not hit, you'll hit less players with the rollers, and the rollers also do minus 10% damage as well. So this is definitely a weapon for getting all those direct hits all the time. My overall opinion on this weapon is actually quite high. I can definitely see myself using this, although I can see many demomen not using it in comp because they won't trust it to, they won't trust them slash trust their aim, I guess, to give out the damage, the similar damage to the default, because the default, it is so vital. The spam and the just rollers in general, pipes that just roll on the ground, they are just so vital for spam. You get so many kills as Demoman with these rollers. So this one will definitely be hindering a lot of Demoman that do not rely on their pipe aim. But for all the Demoman that have quite good pipe aim and I guess kind of use it more so than the stickies, I guess, even though no Demoman does that, because why would you do that? But anyway, so if a Demoman does use his pipes a lot more and has better aim, this is definitely the one for him. And I like it more than the lock and load, even though the lock and load has 3 pipes now. It still does, it's been nerfed, so it does less damage, but even these rollers, if you are shooting at a sentry gun, per se, and you slightly miss a sentry gun but it lands next to it, it'll stay there like a sticky and then eventually explode. And yes, it does minus 10 damage, but as I said before, rollers can be so vital. Even though these rollers will not roll, sounds pretty strange. Even though these rollers will not roll, rollers are just such a vital tool to the demoman and are such a handy tool to use. So I can definitely see myself using this weapon, but so yeah, tell me in the comments below if you like this weapon. I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts. I will be using MPubs. I don't know about comp TF2 competitive. I might try it in some scrims, but I don't know, and see how it goes. But you definitely have to rely on the direct hits. But yeah guys, it's just been a review slash opinion slash thoughts on the new grenade launcher, the Iron Bomber. Yes, I do know the name of it. And yep, so I'll catch you all later.